One of the easiest mistakes to make in dating is confusing possibility with evidence. And because possibility feels good, many women don't recognize they're doing it until much later. They aren't evaluating what is happening, they are evaluating what could happen. And those are two different things. Today, we're going to talk about the difference. Welcome to Sunday School. I'm Arnitris L. Strong, Executive Dating Strategist, founder of Love Elevated with Arnitris, and host of Executive Lessons in Love. This is a relationship education you were never given. Each week we explore the patterns, perspectives, and relationship skills that help women make more intentional relationship decisions. If that sounds like something you need, make sure you're subscribed and let's get into today's lesson. I want to begin with a simple observation. Most disappointing dating experiences don't begin with bad intentions. They begin with possibility, a good conversation, a shared interest, a strong first date, a glimpse of chemistry, a few moments that make you think this could actually be something. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually part of the excitement of dating, the ability to imagine what could develop over time, the ability to see potential, the ability to envision a future. But somewhere along the way, many women stop evaluating what is happening and start emotionally investing in what could happen. And that's where things become expensive because possibility and evidence are not the same thing. Asks, what is? Possibility imagines the future. Evidence evaluates the present. Possibility focuses on potential. Evidence focuses on patterns. And while both have value, they should never carry equal weight. One of the reasons possibility is so persuasive is because it allows us to experience the emotional benefits of a future before that future actually exists. Think about that for a moment. A woman meets someone she likes. Nothing significant has happened yet. No commitment, no consistency, no demonstrated track record. But she's already imagining vacation, conversation, holidays, meeting family, building a life together. And the interesting thing is that emotions attached to those possibilities are real. The excitement is real. The anticipation is real. The hope is real. Which means a woman can become emotionally invested before there is significant evidence to support that investment. And it's not because she's foolish, it's because she's human. The challenge is that once emotional investment enters the picture, objectivity becomes much more difficult because now you're not just evaluating a relationship, you're protecting a future. And protecting the future often feels more important than evaluating a reality. Let's go a little deeper. One of the reasons possibility is so persuasive is because it asks very little from us. Possibility doesn't require consistency. Possibility doesn't require progression. Possibility doesn't require results. Possibility simply asks, what if he's serious? What if he's just moving slowly? What if things come together eventually? What if this becomes something meaningful? And while there's nothing inherently wrong with asking those questions, they become dangerous when possibility begins carrying more weight than evidence. Because evidence asks a different question. Evidence asks, what is actually happening? That's why women sometimes remain attached to situations long after the evidence suggests they should reevaluate. They're not holding on to what exists, they're holding on to what could exist. And those are two very different things. I think many accomplished women get tripped up here because they're exceptionally skilled at recognizing potential. It's one of the reasons they're successful. They see possibilities, opportunities, untapped potential, future outcomes. That skill serves them well professionally, but in dating, it can become a liability because potential and readiness are not the same thing. A man can have tremendous potential and still be completely unavailable for the type of relationship you want. A relationship can have potential and still lack the consistency required to sustain it. As potential answers the question, what one of the most expensive dating mistakes women make is assuming potential eventually becomes reality. Potential is not a promise. Potential is not a plan. Potential simply means something could happen. And there is a significant difference between what could happen and what is consistently being demonstrated. Many women remain attached to possibilities long after the evidence suggests they should reevaluate. And that's not because they're foolish, it's because possibility is persuasive. Tomorrow night, Love Elevated Sun could happen. Readiness answers the question, what is happening? And far too many women build relationship decisions around the first question while ignoring the second. I think one of the most dangerous things about possibility is that it can distract us from the present because the future is exciting. The future is where all our hopes live. The future is where all of the possibilities exist. The present feels less glamorous. The present asks practical questions. Is communication consistent? Is effort consistent? Are actions matching words? Is the relationship progressing? Are we moving in the same direction? These questions aren't nearly as exciting as imagining a future, but healthy relationship decisions are made in the present, not in the imagined future. And that's why evidence matters. Evidence doesn't ask what someone is capable of becoming. Evidence asks what they're consistently demonstrating today. Potential says he could be a great partner. Evidence says, how is he showing up right now? Potential says this could become something serious. Evidence says, what is it today? Potential says he has so much to offer. Evidence says, what is he actually offering? Potential describes capability. Evidence describes reality. And reality deserves more weight. Not because possibility doesn't matter, but because possibility without evidence often creates attachment to futures that haven't been earned. I want you to consider something. Most women believe they're heartbroken over a person. Sometimes they're heartbroken over an expectation, an imagined future, a story they began telling themselves about where the relationship was going. And when the relationship ends, they're not only grieving what happened, they're grieving what they believed would happen. That's why letting go can feel so complicated, because you're trying to release both reality and imagination at the same time. One of my favorite questions is this: what evidence supports what I hope is true? Not what do I want, not what do I believe, not what could happen. What evidence supports what I hope is true? Because that question forces possibility and evidence into the same room. And when possibility and evidence finally sit at the same table, true understanding usually follows. Not always the understanding we want, but almost always the understanding we need. Tomorrow night, Love Elevated Summer School begins. And one of the conversations we'll be having this week is called The Future You Imagined is Keeping You Stuck. Because many women believe they're struggling to release a person, when in reality, they're really struggling to release a future. If today's lesson has been a mirror for you, I think you'll find this week's conversations especially valuable. I've also created a summer school journal to accompany the series. Inside, you'll find the Before You Choose Readiness Review and guided reflection pages for each session. You can request your copy using the link below.